Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Wrap Up and Resilience. Sarah, I am so excited to have you here with me every week. I'm just excited that I get to be a friend every week. So,
You know what? I'm with you. Sometimes I think it's funny. We have this 15-minute conversation before we even start, and it's like, okay, now what do we talk about? So,
with that being said,
mhm.
our conversation this week, I think you brought up a great topic, and I really want to go into that. So, how about you let everybody know what we're talking about this week?
Sure. So I'm going to kind of give it an example first, and then we can go kind of on our tangents with it. But there are a few people in some of my news feeds on social media that talk about being laid off for a significant period of time, and they are, not finding any positions available, or not getting interviews, I should say, in their chosen career path. Okay. And what I want to kind of talk about today is knowing yourself and knowing you have other skill sets that can get you through those times that may not be that career path that you chose. And like one person, she's been unemployed for like 8 months now, and she's on the verge of losing her home and losing some other things. And I was laid off last November. Last, like, what would that be? 9, 10 months ago now. And I had to make a pivot. I had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? And I started taking multiple part-time jobs to use the skill sets that I don't use on a daily basis in my chosen career path, because I needed to have a roof over my head, right? I needed to feed the children in my household. There's laws on that. I make jokes, but there are. And I think that's what I want to get into is people have more skill sets than they use on a day-to-day basis. And I wish people would see themselves for more than they are. I think that's where I want to start the conversation.
Yeah, and I think that that is something that we as a culture has created. If you
Yes.
can't put it on your resume, you can't apply for it. If
Right.
you can't put it on if you don't have four people to back you up on this skill, then it's not a skill. Or a conversation that we're having in accountability earlier today, if everybody can do it, then why does it make me special? Well, it makes you special because you can do it. And
Right.
just because the people around you can do it doesn't mean that there's people that can, not everybody can do it.
Not
Um,
everyone can do it.
not everyone can
No.
do it. So I think that that really brings into that perspective. But then it also, one of the things that I take into consideration is the way that we hire, the way that jobs are hiring people, and the way that they're
Yes.
not hiring people. So I think that's a huge thing. But I love what you said about honoring who you are as you are. If you can do these things, apply for those things. Um, I work 40 hours and I work weekends. I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then like a few hours every morning to get to over 30 hours so that I can make my rent and I can pay for food for my kid. And it's not easy because it is a
No.
lesser paying job. I could be a hotel manager. I have that experience. I have lots of experience in management, but I wanted to build a company that will be mine,
Yes.
and so I took that into consideration when I got a job.
Correct. Yeah. And what we talked about in our little 15 minutes before this, which is always funny to me again, we talked about dream jobs, right? Sometimes you have to take two steps back to get your actual dream job. And so I'm doing some VA work right now, virtual assistant work, and I'm working with wonderful people. I love what I'm doing. It's something different every day. I have fun with it. Are these my dream jobs? Am I going to retire from any one of these? The answer is no. That's not my path. However, for right now, it is a perfect opportunity for me to do the other things that I do want to do. And that's the same thing with you, I'm assuming, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
And here's the thing, we're not the people that are listening to this that might be the people we work with, none of them are expecting us to retire from these jobs. We're not telling secrets here, right? And this is where people need to kind of take themselves in a different viewpoint, but also companies need to start thinking, just because I have a bachelor's degree in psychology doesn't mean I can't take a part-time job in something. Just because I have a master's degree in business doesn't mean I can't take a part-time job in something and be successful at it for a long-term period of time, right?
Yeah.
And companies need to change the way they're viewing things. If I'm applying for a job, I don't feel I'm overqualified for it. I feel I'm going to be great at it and I can do that position.
And
And
also, I feel I can show up for it.
yeah. Oh,
A
good
lot
point.
of people who have great referrals and great residents and schooling and all of those things, when you're applying for work, it is everybody became IT. So the IT industry is
Sure.
everybody, right? Everybody is
Sure.
going into nursing, so it's everybody. So when you have a specific skill set and you are at the top of IT, but you're coming in at this level and you because you're worth this much and we don't want you to get bored or tired. And this is a legitimate my one of my best friends lost his home because nobody would hire him because he had this IT skill set, was looking for these jobs because this job wasn't available.
Right.
These people are still going to show up. People that are up here that are working here are still going to show up because they have mortgages, they have homes, they
They have the
have
reasons to show up.
yeah,
Exactly.
they want to have a job. You know, there's people who won't hire you if you don't have a year's worth of a job. Well, if you won't hire me because I'm too qualified and I can't get a year's worth of job to get hired, then where are we looking at this? And that's why a lot of people have
Yeah.
stepped away from corporate. You're not going to let us put our family first. You're not going to let us have a lower skill set. Yeah, I could be a manager, but I don't want the stress of that. So I just want to work down here.
Right.
Without flexibility of us being able to acknowledge where our mentality is and why we're going to work. We go to work to pay our mortgage. We go to work to support a business. People are now supporting their own businesses and their own
Yeah.
spaces. I love working for the company I work for because they allow people the flexibility of setting their own hours. I crushed my knee. I did not lose my job. But do you know how many people would have lost their job had they went to work and said, I can't work here? And
Right.
yes, there's laws, right? We all know
Yeah,
there's the law, you can't fire somebody, but they will find a way.
but the laws cover like FMLA and things like that, right? But it doesn't mean that once you come back from unpaid leave, which how are you paying rent? How are you doing things with unpaid leave? You might get your job back, but then all they're going to do is put you on a performance improvement plan and get rid of you as soon as they can when you get back. I've heard time and time again of those things happening. So they find a way to get rid of you.
Yeah. So really taking what you can and as an employer acknowledging that people are taking what they can get, they're still going to show up, they're still going to be there, they still need the money.
Right.
You denying them is not going to make that difference. But as a person who has multiple skill sets,
Yeah.
get a job, lock in where you can lock in. I know that there were times where I contemplated getting two jobs, but then my business would have not had the attention that it needs, you know. But find things that you can do. Become a VA. If you're skilled and you look, I am not a marketer. I I can't market for myself, but find those things that you can do and help
Right.
businesses. Create your own business. Help and push people forward while pushing yourself forward.
And the more connections you make, the more likely you will get back into that dream job situation that you want to be in. So sometimes just taking that step back and reevaluating your skill set can get you to where you want to be. And then if businesses I can't help businesses turning around, but if they did, that would help the situation too.
Yeah, and
But
it would help people feel comfortable when they go to work and really
100%.
with their dream job. I can go to work. This is my dream job. This is where I want to go, and I can rise with my dream job. There's so many companies that keep you at the level that you're hired at, or they're like, oh, you can get to management, and
Yeah.
management is the top of where you can go, but there's so much more in those businesses. And they're like, well, you only have the skill set of working that part of the business. You don't have. Do you all realize that to work the lower levels, you have to understand
Everything.
more than what the. When you start in the lower level, you understand more than what most people understand because you're in the day to day of it. And
Well, and 100%. And that just leads me to, I just saw something today. It was on LinkedIn. You know how you do those polls on LinkedIn? Somebody did a poll that said, like, why did you leave your last job? And it was, to find more money, because I had a bad boss, something, but they were all negative things. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, every job, so I've only not left, like, I was only fired once, laid off or whatever, you know what I mean? Involuntary. But all the other jobs, I didn't leave because of bad bosses. I didn't leave because I wanted more money. I didn't leave for any negative reason. I left because there was no upward mobility. I knew if I stayed there, I would have a job forever, but I wouldn't be doing anything more than what I was doing that day. Right. And that's not what I wanted. And so companies need to start thinking that, you know, you need to give people opportunities also. And so even though people want to start like applying to a lower level job, that's fine. They have that skill set that the next time one of your managers leaves, they're going to be able to step in and be like way more skilled than possibly the person they're working under at the moment.
yeah, and already have an
So,
inside knowledge. So, and that's something that's one of the reasons why I've left a few of my jobs is I was skilled enough to become manager and they would hire outside.
oh, yeah, the external hire. We need new blood.
Yeah. Why would you hire outside when everything's functioning? We've seen it function and
Hmm.
we can maintain it. Because once new blood comes in, there's a whole change. You're going to lose 50% of your employees with new blood. There's
Yep.
just there's a mix, there's things that happen. And so, that's one of the reasons why I've always left is I'm skilled enough to do these things. You, however, don't see it on my resume, but I've been here for a year and a half. I've had
Yep.
to follow the protocol for a year and a half. I've had to, I've worked with this manager, I've done these things, and the manager didn't leave because they were getting fired for horrible things. They left because they were tired of, your stuff. And I'm
There you go.
I'm willing to step into that position. And so that's what you're looking at too is if you were to hire somebody at a lower level, once those higher levels come available, they're already inside the business. They already know what's going on. They're the grunts, right?
Yeah.
So they have a better perspective. And I think that that's just, an inside of your own business. Let's bring this back to being entrepreneurs. We are grunts.
We are. We are. I'm the lowest level person in my company, sweetheart. Like,
Yeah, we
sorry, I'm
are
making jokes,
grunts.
but right.
But
So,
I've been able to delegate some stuff out. I have an amazing office manager and I love my office manager to pieces and she sent an email and it was a mistake. Like there was issues in it. And she was like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And I looked at her and I said, if you didn't make the mistake, I would have. Like, why? She's she's not a grunt to me. Like I would have made that same mistake. Like that's
sure.
why we're here. We're a team. This is my business has to have a team of people because your mistake is my mistake and my mistake is definitely not your mistake. We can readjust what I'm doing wrong, right? Um but it does. It comes around full circle to how do you work as a team? And most corporations just don't have it. And so when you're out applying and you're applying for these high level jobs, there's 50 other people applying for a high level job. Your
Possibly more.
resume Right. Your resume isn't like look, y'all are special. We're special. You're special. You have skills. You deserve that job. I am not saying in any way, shape, or form that you don't,
No,
but there's 50 other people that deserve that job too. And
sure.
so where do we come at? And, lower yourself. What can you grab? What is online? What are those quick I see all kinds of times that there's landscapers looking for work. There's all kinds of people who need help, and it can
Yep,
assist you until you get that job that you really want. And that comes into play with some Freddie, like there's fast food joints, there's other joints, there's all kinds of places that, gas stations, they know that they're a revolving door, but
exactly.
utilize them.
100%. Exactly. If it's about resilience, right? That's what we're talking about. And resilience isn't waiting for an email to come through for an interview. Resilience is getting out and doing something about it, right? So apply to the jobs that should be your first part-time job when you lose a job, right? But you can't do it 40 hours a week. You'd lose your mind. You'd go crazy. So take those steps to get a part-time job to make ends meet for the moment. If your state doesn't allow that during unemployment, then wait till unemployment runs out. But make sure that you are taking the steps to be resilient in your life, to do what you need to do to take things to the next step. And if that means taking a step back, make it happen. And by all means, reach out to me and I will walk you through how to become a couple of these things and look at your skill set. I'm willing to have conversations with people. And we don't have thousands of viewers on this thing yet, so I'm willing to say that out loud.
Right. And we have QR codes right here.
We do.
So, right, I gotta scoot over
I never know what side it's on, so I'm just going to do this. Look at the
that way.
QR code.
Look at the QR code. Make sure that you connect with us. Resilience is huge, and as somebody who gets to network with Sarah every week, she is an amazing person to just talk to and lift you up and really help you find where your skill set is, and help you kind of figure out the outside of the box information for sure.
There
So,
you
yeah,
go.
thank you, everybody. Have a great day.